say everything will be fine. I don't wanna feel your tears on my skin. I'm a coward, baby, don't let me in. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. So I don't wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. Wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of war. There is no sickness, toil nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going.
Hello, this is Thumbs United. We are working on photoshopping doing film restoration of these color photographs. They're medium format. It's medium format photography, film photography. So this is what we have. And I've already done some of it, the top half, and now we're going to go along the bottom half. This is kind of a test stream to see, well, how well Photoshop does. I've messed around with some of the settings and it's working okay, but I wanted to see how it worked. No, while I was live streaming, but it's getting angry at me. So these are actually rescans. What I did before was I would scan the medium format in chunks, and so medium format is over kind of double the size of a 35mm film, but I only had a 35mm scanner. And so what I would do is I would scan it in 3 chunks, because you need it to overlap a little bit, so the top half, bottom half, and the middle. And then I would load those 3 images into Photoshop, and it would stitch them together because it would think it's a can tell Photoshop to, use these images as a panoramic, and so then it will stitch them together. And so it worked pretty well, but some of the images, like the coloring was off, where the top layer was a different white balance than the bottom white balance, and that was the thing that's kind of annoying, is that with the scanners, they kind of do a little bit of, they call it auto tone, where they will kind of adjust the white balance of the negative, and they do it mainly because like when you convert to digital, digital can't quite get the entire range of film, even when you're scanning at high resolutions. And so it'll say, oh well, because like if the film's really dark, then most of the image data will be black. And so what the scanner will do is like, okay, it's really dark, so it's going to lighten it up a little bit. So most of there's still a wider range of light and dark in the scanned negative, the digital file. And so it doing that kind of changes the overall exposure. And so that's with black and white. And so it does the same thing in color, where it will say, this image is a little too blue, and it'll say probably wasn't meant to be that blue, so it will compensate a little bit. And the reason why it does that is it wants to keep the maximum amount of image data within the confines of the digital file. And so digital files do have limits. They can't be like, you can't have something that's completely all white. And then, something completely black, because digital can't handle that contrast. It will either be completely black and there's no detail in the pixels, or something like that. Digital is usually a higher contrast medium. Look at that spec. So the goal is, I've been doing film editing offline, and I figure I might as well be doing it live streaming if I can, because then more people in chat can come hang out. Kind of excuse for me to socialize a little bit more. And then hopefully my Twitch channel will grow, because I'm trying to get reruns back. They took it away from people who were an affiliate. We used to be able to do premieres and reruns and uploads, but not anymore. I'm trying to get that back so I can do more of my photography films and animations. I can live stream those. It's a little bit difficult to always do those as a live broadcast, even though it is just playing a video from my computer, because my computer spends so much time rendering. My computer's render. But that I actually have to stop rendering to do a live stream, and so that slows everything down. I had a little bit of a mistake. I don't know what this is. We'll get rid of it. Almost done. So Photoshop is running a little bit slower. I did all kinds of things to my computer. I created a paging cache file, but instead of, usually what will happen with Windows is it creates a page file and it will start at like 4 kilobits, but then as you need more RAM, it will expand. So that's why when you're doing a lot of work on the computer, and if your hard drive's close to full, you'll start getting warnings that, oh, your hard drive's full. And that's because you might not have enough RAM built into your motherboard on the RAM module. And so then it will start to do what's called virtual RAM, where it will start writing the data it would normally write on the disk. It isn't really good because hard drives are exponentially slower than RAM, and so the data that is written on the disk will be slower. What I did was I made a persistent page file on a solid state drive, and so it won't scale up. It will constantly stay at 8 gigabytes. So I did that, and then I have it set to do to primarily use the RAM on the motherboard. So that sped other programs up, but it kind of slowed down Photoshop. So one of these days I'm gonna turn it off and see if it gets better. And then I've been playing with graphics card settings and all that stuff. Okay, we are done with that. And then I'll be right back.
And I know dark clouds will gather round me, and I know my way is rough and steep, but golden fields stretch out before me, where weary eyes no more will meet. I'm going there to see my father. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just gone over Jordan. I'm just gone over home.
Okay, we're back. There's a little bit kind of overscanned a little bit. Well, I always crop a little more than kind of necessary, just to make sure we don't get any corners. Okay, let's get to work. And so these negative scans, they're a little over 100 megapixels. And that's the nice thing about working with film, is they're not really beholden to pixels. It's really kind of the quality of the scanner and everything. And so it's nice, but the downside is it takes a long time to scan. Using that method before I was talking about, where I scanned it in chunks, it would take about 40 minutes to scan 3 chunks. But I have a new scanner. I got it used, and it straight up didn't work. And so the day that I got it, I was like, well, I'll take it apart. I took it apart and then put it back together, and it worked. It was a simple problem, but it was just like, seriously? Because the person on eBay was like, oh, it works fine, and then it didn't. So a normal person probably wouldn't have figured out what it was, but the only real reason why I knew what the problem was with the scanner was because I built a 3D printer. And so a lot of the printers and scanners can all work the same way. So I was like, I think I can fix this problem. And luckily I didn't need any new parts or anything, so I got a really good deal on the scanner. It's well, when it came out, it was like a $400 scanner, and you can probably get it new for $300, but I got it for $50, and scanned really well. I have become a Canon person. I mean, I was always a Canon camera person, but their printers and scanners were a little bit expensive, but I had a different Canon scanner, and that's the one I do the 35mm scans on, and it was so fantastic. And so now the scanner I have does medium format, and it's so nice because it will scan a whole strip of 3 photographs at the same time, and I don't have to, tell it to do each one. And then it will but it will do it at like the correct resolution all at once. I don't have to stitch images together in Photoshop. And so like I scanned the entire month of February, I scanned all of my medium format negatives. And that was nice. And so that's how I did the extended Italy photographs. Was I scanned all of them and then I edited them, and there was 103 photographs, where before all the negative, before what I had to do was like I said, I could only scan in chunks, but it took me maybe 4 or 5 months to do just 60, and so now it took me 14 days to do 100 and 103. That's why I'm redoing the Milwaukee. We actually already did this. I didn't live stream it, but you can go onto the photography store, quotations.com, and you can find the negatives from Milwaukee. And so I'm redoing it because being able to scan the image all at once, the colors are more even, there are less issues. So we're going to do an extended kind of Milwaukee photographs, kind of reimagination. That's what we're doing. And it's funny because, well, I have to write a program, and I've kind of been stewing on it, but it will let me do plausible rendering. I already have a program that lets me do plausible rendering, but I want to make it a little better. With the plausible rendering, what it does is it allows me to like stop rendering and then start up again. But it did it with image files. So the image files when you're rendering are a lot bigger than if you're doing a movie file, because it's doing the frames. And so it will have to do like 100,000 image frames. And so even though it's the same number of frames that are in a movie, if you do it as an image file, it's like terabytes big. Versus if you do it in a movie, it's already in a kind of compressed format, so then it will be like a couple of gigs. And so I have an animated version of these photographs already done in 8K. It took about a month to render the image files, and then it took about a week to encode those image files into a movie file. So I'm going to that's my dog. But yeah, I think I'm gonna, with these, remastered photographs, I'm gonna do a kind of a different version, but in 6K. And I have to rewrite the program so that it's, one, more reliable, and two, it will automatically encode the videos into the correct format. So I'm getting ready to write that program. And so what's nice is I will be able to do more animations in 6 and 8K easier, because before it was really, I had to write a program and make sure it would work. Oh, hold on. Okay, I thought my dog was coming to yell at me. But the program will let me do 8K rendering and 6K and whatever animations more easier, because before it was like I had to set up a program and enter all this data and stuff, and it was really specific to one animation file. I had to do it at a time. But the way I think I'm gonna do it is it's gonna be on a more automated process where I just, it's a drag and drop system that I use with Python. So you either drag the animation files or you just drag the folder, and it will usually what I do is I program it so that if you drop a folder, it will go look in that folder and all the subfolders and render anything that is in there. And yeah, so we'll do that. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to get it to the point where it's just drag and drop, and it will do everything. That's the hard part, because you spend a week or like 12 hours animating. By the time you're done, you just want to go to bed. You don't want to be programming the stuff to render and everything. And so when it's easy, you just, even though you're tired, if it's just like 3 clicks and then you can render, and that's a lot easier, and you don't make mistakes. So making everything easy and beating your production is what you want, because you make less mistakes, there's less headache, and there's less chance of things going wrong. So that's why I try to automate kind of as much as possible. The computational stuff, I still like to do everything kind of by hand. Like doing this, like there are filters in Photoshop built in that will go and remove all the dust and everything, but they also remove a lot of the detail of the image, and so it kind of blurs everything. And that's how you lose the details. So you might have like 100 megapixel file like this one, and then it will go down to essentially being like 10 megapixels because it blurs all the pixels together. And so it's not supposed to, it's supposed to kind of search and destroy the dust, but it can't really tell what is dust and what isn't. So anything that's like speckled that's supposed to be there, or it will try to remove. And it's okay for small resolution files and things that aren't important. But things like this, you have to really do everything by hand. What's nice is it's higher quality. So this part isn't automated. Okay, we're getting into a little bit of lag. Which is fine, because we're almost done with this. And so that's why I have to take a break after each image. I have to restart Photoshop, mainly just to clear the memory. For whatever reason, it doesn't clear. When you close the document, it doesn't clear the memory fast enough. So it just starts slowing down. This looks like it's a hair. It's kind of a harder brush stroke because I'm doing it with my left hand. So it curves in the opposite direction of which I want it to go. Almost done. There's that rest of the piece of the hair. Get rid of that. And then normally my computer is not this slow, but I'm encoding a 360 file, 360 degree file, and it's 5.7K. So close to 6K, but it's not. So that's the other issue. And that's why I'm really trying to fine-tune Photoshop. Because I have a lot of 360 videos I have to encode. I have to encode them first so I can edit them and then export them. It's a whole process. I've been encoding for about a month now. It's actually a road trip I did. And it's the actual footage on the hard disk. It's 3 terabytes. And so I have the original hard drive it's all on, and then I have a backup, which I'm using as the backup, and then I have another hard drive that I do the rendering on. So I copied 1 terabyte of footage onto that, and then it's encoding the 360 video, and then I'll edit it and export it, and then I'll do the next terabyte later. But a terabyte of 360 video is a lot to process. Okay, I'll be back.
I'm going left to see my brother. He said he'd meet me when I come. Hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say mockingbird don't sing. I'm gonna buy a diamond ring. Yes, and I know that diamond ring. Yes, I know that diamond ring is gonna shine. Darling, if you'll marry me, I'll buy you a house with a big oak tree. Say, darling, say, we'll live in the house with the big oak tree. 3 little babies on.
Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna crop this. And you got this nice tree. It's kind of hard because some of the branches look like scratches on the negative, but there's not too much. This negative actually looks pretty clean. And that's nice. It's not so much the negative, it's the dust on the scanner that's the issue. Right there. And it's kind of like a, I don't know, not self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's really feeds into itself, where the more spot heals you do, the more, you know, removing of dust and everything in Photoshop, the slower it gets. So images that don't have a lot of issues load faster and have less problems. It's when you really have to, you know, edit an image that Photoshop starts to freak out. So we're already halfway done and we've only done like 15 fixes or so. That's nice. Oh, there's a big one. Looking around. There's a couple down there. And what's also nice about this image is it's not, a lot of dust will show up when you have bright objects like this water. You can really see the dust. The sky, photos with a lot of sky in them, will reveal dust in the sky. So this doesn't have, you know, the sky. It's a gray day, very cloudy and evenly lit. And so even if there was a lot of dust, most of it wouldn't show up. Almost done. My goal is to do at least 8 images a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of times it takes between 10 to, I've had images where it was like 5 images in a row and each one took 40 minutes. And so you never quite know what you're gonna get, but it's important to pace yourself and have goals. And what I do sometimes is once I see I'm getting close to the end, I'll do like a speed burst. And not a speed burst, but I'll just edit photos extra long. So instead of doing 8, I'll do, you know, the final 20 photos, because it's like, oh, I'm almost done and I want to get the project out. So I'll stay up like all night and finish those photographs. We're done with this one.
Yes,
So I'll be back.
that diamond ring. Yes, I know that diamond ring is gonna shine.
Okay, we got the image. And I like to crop more than I have to. You can kind of see the problem here. We got that big squiggly hair that was on the scanner. So other than this giant hair, the image doesn't look too bad. Yeah, you can see how the dust really shows up in the sky with light blues, and even when you're doing black and white, the sky is kind of the perfect shade of gray where it reveals all the dust on the negative while you're scanning. Do, 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 do. It does seem like this is a lot when I've had images where it's like it would take me 15 minutes to get this far, and it's kind of discouraging because it's like I haven't even finished one row of the photograph. It's been 15 minutes. How long is the rest of it gonna take? And it's usually that maybe the top half is really heavy with things that have to be restored, and then the bottom half is like really simple. That's not always the case, but for whatever reason, the way it works out, kind of like that. And you got the rest of his hair. Get rid of that. It's gonna take a while to load. There we go. And a lot of speckle here. This is a complicated one for spot heal. We'll see how it does. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. It's kind of a funny story. But like 3 months ago, yeah, it was October, I'm going to the pharmacy and I called in a refill on my prescription. That's how it works, is the insurance company kind of decides how much, you know, how many pills you get in your pill box. And so like the doctor might say, okay, give this person 180 pills. And the insurance company will be like, we don't want to give you 180 pills. So they'll do like, we'll give you 30 pills and you have to refill your bottle, you know, X amount of times. Or sometimes the doctor will say, you know, give 30, but they can have, you know, 3 refills of that 30. And but usually it's actually the insurance company that decides, especially with the bigger stuff, because they don't want, 1, for you to sell the stuff, and 2, if you need like a dosage change, then they don't want you to have, 100 extra pills that you no longer need. And they don't want to pay for that. So that's kind of the reason. But anyway, so I've been taking blood pressure medicine for about a year. For the past 6 years. I've been having problems with my blood pressure. My heart's like trying to kill me. But so I tried this new stuff last year, this beta blocker, and it worked really well. Not only did it work really well, take an antidepressant, and for whatever reason it like turbocharged the antidepressant, where I felt great. And so October I went to go get a new refill. What's nice is the stuff's kind of cheap, so they'll give me 180 pills. But at a time, no, they don't give 180, they give 90 pills at a time. But this time they're like, we can't give you your prescription. I was like, what? I have a refill. I have like 3 more refills available on this prescription. And they're like, yeah, we don't like your doctor anymore. And so my doctor is a medical doctor. She's registered and everything. But there's a new rule where they're like, if your doctor's not part of this, kind of conglomerate, then the insurance company won't cover it. And so that's fine because the pills are cheap. It's about $30 without insurance. And that's not the problem. The problem is the pharmacist said, if you pay out of pocket for your medicine and then use your insurance for other things, the insurance company is probably going to cancel your insurance because they're like, oh, you can pay for it, you don't need us. It's like, so I ran out of my blood pressure medicine because I have to find a new doctor that is part of this healthcare coverage, and get another checkup to get my blood pressure medicine. But so I've been out for since last Monday. It's almost been a week. And oh man, the day before yesterday and yesterday were rough. Because when I was resting and stuff, it was really difficult to breathe. I was like, oh, I'm probably just too much dust or whatever. But then my neck started to feel really swollen, and I just felt like there was tension in my jaw and cheeks, and I was like, am I making a face? I was like, oh no, am I having a stroke? And so I'm poking it. But I was too lazy to get up and look in the mirror. And so the day before yesterday, I was so just dreadfully tired. And it was funny because I googled, I feel hollow. And so then Google gives me the suicide hotline. I'm like, I'm depressed, but I'm not that depressed. Thanks, Google. And so then I Googled some other stuff, and they're like, signs of a heart attack. And I was like, oh. So last night I was reading everything, and I was like, oh, I'm probably having a heart attack. They talked about, having difficulties with your face, pain in your shoulder, pain in your arm, your left arm. Which I knew the left arm, and so I was like, oh, I have all this. And so I kid you not, last night I was so anxious because I was like, well, if I'm having a heart attack, I should probably go to the emergency room. I was like, I don't want to pay for the emergency room. And so then I was like, well, we'll see how I do tomorrow, which is today. Because I was getting ready to go, to urgent care today. Well, no, last night I was making plans where, like, if things didn't pull up, then I would go to urgent care and just get my heart looked at. But I feel pretty good today. The thing is, just kind of like a little bit of the withdrawal symptoms are left from being a week without the blood pressure medicine. But it was really rough for a couple of days. It was just this. It was like going from being normal to being super depressed. But it's not like a real depression. It's like just no energy. Like even, sitting down and doing this Photoshop stuff, it's like, oh, it's too much work. And just everything's a struggle. So I noticed that if I do a little bit of exercise in the morning, then those symptoms go away. I got to get the blood pumping and everything. Monday I'll actually make an appointment with a new doctor. But it was like, wow, maybe this whole time I've never been depressed. Maybe it was always my heart. Yeah, see, this image is taking a while, and Photoshop's starting to lag a little bit. We're gonna save and we're gonna relaunch this. I'll be right back.
So hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird.
Okay, we're back. And it's something weird where it loads too much in memory, and then it's like, oh, I'm getting bogged down. I can't sort through it. I don't know if it's loading so much in memory and then offloading it onto a scratch disk. But the scratch disk is too slow. It doesn't seem to make any difference if it's a solid state scratch disk or a mechanical hard drive. It always bogs down. And then I've tried using no GPU computation, and you lose some of the animated effects like this elastic scroll where I can flick the image to the side. You lose that when you do CPU only. But there's less lag for some of it, but when it fails hard. Cleaning the roads. Yeah, that was much better now that we restarted Photoshop. Photoshopping across the universe. Last row. Oh man, we got a lot of scratches here. We're done with this. Just gotta save it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Starting off with kind of exaggerated crop. And rotate. There we go. Very nice. I think this is going to be the last image we do. I have some errands to run. And I have a long drive to do them. I have to go get dressed. That's the nice thing about doing no cam streams. Is I'm wearing a onesie and a weird hat. And I'm probably making some weird facial expressions because I'm breathing out of my mouth. But It's nice to not have to worry about that. Like, I just get up, I make my coffee, drink my coffee, and then I go. Like, everyone makes fun of no cam streams. Mainly because there's a lot of bad actors out there. You just complain on people, and then they go and find out. And they don't even stream with a camera. So it is kind of looked down on Twitch. But that's just because, you know, bad characters. Which I don't understand. Like, why can't people just be, like, strive to be good? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I see people throwing shade and stuff, and it's like, why be angry? It's not just why be angry, but why would you want to, you know, inflict somebody with, you know, suffering and negativity? And then, like, the other kind of subset of that is people who are like, oh, I'm just honest. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, which they're trying to make sound like a good thing, like they're telling the truth. And 90% of that is just their opinion, and they know it's rude, they know it's hurtful, and they're saying, oh, just because I think it's true, that gives me license to kind of, you know, really ruin your life for an hour or two. But it's true, which it usually isn't. But, like, I don't understand that philosophy either. And then sometimes on the dating apps, you see people who straight up say, you know, I'm gonna be, you know, a butt to you, and you're just gonna have to accept that. And it's like, why? You know, that doesn't sound like the start to a good relationship if they're already kind of threatening you with that they're gonna be mean to you. And it's like, why? So that's actually kind of the thing that not bothers me, but I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so nice, blah, 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 blah. But I really don't, you know, understand, you know, what compels people to kind of be rude on the internet or anywhere, really. And I don't know, like, I'm not saying, oh, because I'm not rude or anything, but I just, like, I feel like I'm really, you know, docile. And a lot of times I don't know if that's like a mistake. I don't know if people, because I wonder if, you know, part of my being so docile, and that means I'm slower at other things. If I'm like delayed, not developmentally delayed, but like I'm 29, and I wonder if I should have accomplished more in my life. And really kind of the eye-opener was doing online dating, where I'm seeing everyone my age and they're like, oh, own a house, have a career, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm not saying I'm like doing kindergarten stuff. I mean, what I do is complicated, and I do enjoy it, and it's not something that I believe, you know, art is something everyone can do, but I'm not like, oh, I'm accomplished, but I have done a few things, pulled a few tricks and everything. But it's just something I think about, am I motivated enough? Am I putting my resources into the right thing? Like now I am searching for jobs outside of the art world, and it's like, is that right? Should I try to stick in the art world? But then it's just like, I need a job. Anything, really. Like I have a temporary job, but that will end once I finish the work. So I don't know. Like my degree is in programming and application development. So I'm thinking maybe downgrade all my art to a hobby. Because like right now I do it full time. And I make no bucks. And actually the way that I'm funding it is by working a different job. And that pretty much goes straight into the costs of running the business. Which, if you see the cost of the business, you'd be like, oh man, that's, ridiculously affordable. But I'm just, my accounts go to zero each month. And so I'm just not getting ahead. And so in a lot of ways, I'm like, I really appreciate, what I do, because it's like, we're under $150 a month. I built a web presence, a website, a photography store. And I built all that, and it reaches, including social media, it reaches over 10,500 people a day. And a lot of that is hard work and constantly doing photography, and like my posts are automated, but I have to sit down and I hand schedule each one, and which takes hours. And because there's there's technically over 10 accounts, because I have the Facebooks, the Twitters, Instagram, and then I have each one for Live to Tape and Flotations and Thumbs United, Project Aerospace, and then LCD Productions proper. So it's a massive amount of work. But I'm not saying I'm calling it quits, but I am realizing that people kind of spend a lot more and don't get as much out of their work. And that makes sense. But the real joke of it is, like LCD Productions and Thumbs United, they were supposed to be media production companies. Like, they were supposed to be popular on YouTube and Twitch and everywhere. And so it is ironic that the area where I'm excelling is social media, because I don't like social media. Like, I like it better now, and I see the value and the power of it. I also see the destructive nature of it with some people. And I think there is good things about social media, but you have to really find it. And it's easy to get overwhelmed. But But yeah, it's not easy to make money on social media, if that makes sense. And then I have the websites, which has ads, but not enough people go to the website directly. Like if you view the website through Pinterest, Pinterest removes the ads. RSS readers will not only remove the ads from the website, but they will replace them with their own ads, which is like, yeah. And then what else is there? Okay, so I think this was the hard part, the top half. And so that's gonna be the nice thing when I get even just a part-time job. You know, you work an hour, you get paid for an hour. Or with owning your own business, it's like you work 16-hour days in the hopes that in the future you'll get paid. And you're building something, and that's nice. And it will, you know, it all accumulates, all the work, to a payoff. But sometimes the payoff doesn't come soon enough. And that's okay, because my philosophy is if the work doesn't pay off in time, just, you know, keep working, because eventually it will pay off. And it's kind of like, you know, the more time, the longer you survive, the higher the chance that you'll succeed. You just, you know, you can't quit. And so I'm not quitting doing art and everything for LCD Productions, but I do have to survive. Survival of the fittest. So yeah, this is the last image. I've gotten the text message that it's time to go in 10 minutes. We might have to end this image early. Photoshop is getting a little laggy. And by a little, I mean it's getting really laggy. But we're almost done, so I don't want to restart it. It's harder because the dots and stuff in these images are actually reflections from the sky. They're not all actual dust, and so when we lighten the image, you'll see that they're not specks. That's why it looks like I'm skipping over a lot. But this giant line is pretty soon. Getting nervous. Okay. Well, I think this is it. I'm gonna thank everyone for coming out. Did pretty good this stream in terms of what we were able to get done. I'll be streaming again in the early afternoon. I am streaming tonight. I am doing the 30 Days of Destiny. I believe tonight is day 15. So that will happen probably around 11 p.m. I usually say between 9 and 11 p.m. but I have to drive a lot of places today. I'll probably be back late. And I want to thank everyone for coming out. I hope to see everyone tonight or tomorrow for more creative. But tonight is Destiny. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.